What's going on, everyone? It's Adam here from No Shelf Space. A lot of you have asked, hey, how do you store some of your bigger games? You know, I talk a lot about games that have good inserts versus games with bad inserts. So people have said, hey, if a game has a bad insert, how do you store the game? And I thought, why would I not choose like the biggest game on my shelf, which has a terrible insert, and show you how I store it? So we're actually looking at two games today, two big ones from Fantasy Flight Games. They are Descent, Legends of the Dark, and Descent, Legends of the Dark, The Betrayer's War, which is Act 2. So this is Act 1, this is Act 2. There are a ton of pieces in this game. Tons of tokens, tons of characters, tons of cards. And all they provide you is baggies to put it all in. And so you're filling your bag up with baggies and tiles and figures and everything else. And it's one giant mess. For a while, I was actually putting the game out on the table using the baggies. So you're making little piles of all the tokens. And there's, I don't know, 8 to 10 tokens that you're going to be using throughout the game. And finally, I said enough is enough. So I grabbed some 3D files, some STL files from Thingiverse. And I'll link down below the ones that I use. And I got to printing, and I printed a ton of stuff. Now, I have a previous video about this where I showed off kind of what I did for the original Act 1 Descent. But now that I have both versions of the game, and thank you so much to Fantasy Flight for sending those to me. Now that I have both versions of the game, I can show you exactly what I did and how I printed everything. So let's hop in. It's going to be a little bit of a shaky camera situation. I don't have my good gimbal with me, so bear with me, but I will show you how I packed away Descent, Legends of the Dark, and the Betrayer's War expansion. All right, so here we go. We have our two boxes. We're going to deal with the actual second box first. Now, what we've done with this box is stored all of our miniatures into one box. So we'll take the lid off. And I've got some of the instruction manual and the build manuals here as well on top of this box. I can probably move these over to the other box, but we'll get rid of that there. So this is all of the miniatures right in here. And there's going to be a glare. I apologize about that. But here are the miniatures for Betrayer's War. So there's 2 trays of these miniatures, 1 and 2, as well as this giant thing. This is 1 miniature, by the way, massive. So that sits on top, and then the miniatures from the first Descent, original Descent, sit underneath, and then that's right to the bottom there. So these sit like this, just like that. I put those in. Then we put these ones in right here, just like this. And now, the one thing that I will note is that, I'm just trying to figure out if I'm doing this wrong. No, I don't think I am. No, yeah, I do think I am. The one thing to note is that these are, there we go, that's much better. There we go. It's worth noting that this sits a bit above the lip of the box. So as you can see, there's the lip, there's the top. Now, but because these are plastic inserts, I'm not overly worried. I'm going to keep those out. I'm not overly worried about the box lid sitting on top just like that. Like, that doesn't really concern me just because it's a plastic insert and nothing's going to happen. All right, here's where we really get into things. So this is the original Descent box, and we're going to pull this lid off, hopefully. Let's get this off. So this is the original box. Now, again, just for comparison's sake, the original box is just a tad bit taller than the expansion. Not by a lot, but by a little bit. Okay. On the top here, I'm going to print a tray to put these all in, but there will be a tray that sits on top. I just haven't found a good one. I might make my own. But there's all the tiles, and then we get into what's below. So I just printed these 2 pieces, so they'll sit here. I won't need them. I won't put anything in them, but they'll sit there to give me a flat area to work with for when I build or when I print the thing for these tiles. But we'll start pulling this stuff out. So here's these trays. They go down the middle, and this actually goes all the way down. So here's 2 more trays. And then what I've done is I've created these trays here. I'm going to pull those 2 out, and I'm going to pull these 2 out. What I've done is created player trays, 1 per player. I put some fatigue tokens on one side, and I put prepare and focus tokens on the other side. Then every single player will get 1 of these little trays, and that's what sits right here in the middle. I have 2 of these token trays right here. So as you can see, this one has a little extra fatigue and an extra prepare tokens. We've got these ones, the scar, those double-sided tokens right there. And then this comes out. And underneath, we have all of the character tiles, and they're separated into 2 piles. So we have the tiles from the original game, and then I put just a little sleeve in there, and then these are the tiles, or these are the player cards for the expansion. So all the player cards, they sit right underneath, and then this tray slides right back on top like that. Let's go back in here. I'm just going to set this aside for now. We're going to talk about that later. Here's the other tray that I built. It's another dual layer tray. We've got the pieces so you can denote what color the certain enemies are. And then these are the brand new pieces from Act 2. And underneath this tray is all of your different underlays. So those sit under there. This goes back on top. So we've made 2 of those trays. I only have one of these because you only really need one. It holds all 4 of the health dials on the one side and all the dice on the other side. And then we have 5 trays for cards. So what I've done is I've put the cards into trays and tried to give them some semblance of order. So this tray here are all the different weapon cards that we're not currently using. So as you can see here, these are weapons for Galadin on that side, but there's also weapons there for Chance, and at the very bottom for Bryn. And then the same thing on this side, we have Cirrus, we have Varix, and at the very bottom we have... Why can't I remember that person's name? But anyway, we have that. So those are all the weapons, and like I said, it says weapons right there. These are all the weapons we are currently not using. Okay, right here in this one, we have armor and injury cards. So the armor, again, this is armor we haven't yet earned or we haven't yet crafted. That all goes right there. And then just your injury cards for when you take an injury. This is one of the smaller trays. Okay. This one's a little bit full. I wish the edges of this was just like maybe a millimeter higher. Now they do fit like this, but not the greatest. But we'll spin this around. This here are skills and legends cards. Now legends cards are from the expansion. I actually don't even know what those are yet, but that's all the skill cards that we can pick from whenever we go on an adventure. This one here is just the consumables and trinkets tray. So we have all of our consumables on one side and a few on the other, as well as trinkets. And then right here is what I call the player items. These are the things we're carrying from one game to the next. So we have all of our armor, we've got the consumables that we get every turn, and we've also got our trinkets there. Down here, I have all the weapons that we've currently set for each player. And then I think under that, we have the player aids. Now, the reason why I like this system so much is because it was built, and you can find the links to these STL files in the description box, but it was built to store perfectly into the box. And since both boxes use the same internal dimensions, you can actually use both boxes. You can actually use the print for both boxes. So now I'm just showing you how I fill this thing back up. And it's really, really simple, but it works so well. I like to put this one on the bottom just because of how full it is. So everything else will kind of push it down. So that's one layer complete. And then I take this and we start to build the second layer. Now, instead of using another one of these things right here, I actually just use another card. And, okay, maybe this is tighter than I thought. Actually, that should fit, but it's not fitting today. We'll figure that out. It was fit because you guys saw me take it out of here. Maybe this one will work. There we go. That brown one worked. So here we go. We're going to put this right here. And then we got our 4 player trays. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there will be a tray on top. We just haven't done that yet. I'm going to grab the rule books and stuff and lay them right like this. And then we'll put all the terrain tiles and put the lid on just like that. So there you go, guys. That is how I store I don't destroy. That's how I store Descent Legends of the Dark and the Betrayer's War Act 2 expansion. If you like this video and you want to see more videos of me creating inserts for games that don't have them, please leave a comment down below. Let me know. But otherwise, like this video, subscribe, and we'll chat again real soon. Goodbye.